Hi Taurus, this is your August 2015 horoscope with me, Lada from astrolada.com. For everyone who has their ascendant, sun and moon in Taurus, at least check the ascendant in your sun sign. And I have such a busy prognosis for you. I mean, I have so many interesting astrological things to talk about. We're going to talk about Venus retrograde and what it's going to do for you over the next month in August and in the long run, because Venus is the planet of life changes, lifestyle changes. We're talking about also Saturn turning direct in your 7th house, and we're talking about Jupiter going into your 5th house. So many interesting things to talk about. But let's see, the month starts with a square aspect between Jupiter and Saturn, and it's happening in your 7th and in your 4th house. So there is basically some kind of a stress that is happening from your relationships towards your personal life and family responsibilities. Maybe some person, because 7th house rules other people, and will be putting pressure on you in regards to something to do with the home, in regards to something to do with the family, to expand, to improve something to do with the family. Or maybe if you're already doing something with the family, another person might be kind of putting pressure there. It's something around that area, you know. Combine the meaning of other people and the meaning of partners and the meaning of family and home and property, and create some tension there. This is some of the likely possibilities that can play out. It's never 100% for everyone, but like there are different possibilities as well. But I'm just tapping here on what comes to my head, whatever God is sending now. But it's just a very quick influence and it passes away. It's active at the beginning of August. But the focus in August is your 4th house, Taurus, because 4th house is where you have so many planets. You have the sun there, you have Venus retrograde, you have Mercury for a little bit, you have Mars, you know, there's a lot of action happening in 4th house. As we said, is your and there is and Saturn is sending a difficult aspect to those. So there is also some pressure there, but also opportunity for growth and opportunity for improving things. So let's see, Venus getting retrograde in your 4th house. So first of all, there's a lot of focus on family, on private life, on your emotional well-being and balance, trying to find balance and emotional well-being, trying to maybe relocate, change something to do with your home, change something to do with your property, maybe with the garden, maybe with your family. The dynamics of your family might be changing. And as we said, Venus is a lifestyle changer. So over August, well, Venus is moving retrograde, which means that you take a step back and you start looking at matters connected to 4th house that I mentioned from a different perspective. Maybe you look at your home and you say, oh my God, it needs the kitchen to be there and the living room to be there. You see it from a different angle, you know, and you kind of have you can have like a illumination for a little bit. You're not just plowing through. When a planet moves backwards, you see things in a different way. Sorry. And maybe you will realize that the dynamics in your family are not as they should be. So you would reevaluate those relationships with family members, close members that you really love, people that you consider part of your family, people that you consider very close to your heart. Not necessarily sexual relationship, but more emotionally very connected. Even a friend might be someone you consider very like a part of an extended family. And you'd reevaluate those relationships. And if one or a few of those are not proper, the dynamics there, by the end of Venus retrograde, which is in October, fully, the process, it stops being retrograde in September. But you'll see the results around October, how you have transformed your lifestyle in such a way that it improves the relationships and the dynamic in your family. In extreme cases, you might interrupt a relationship with someone, family member or someone very close to you, because you don't consider it that you're being honored and loved and valued properly. Because Venus is all about being valued, particularly at home, particularly love people around you, close people. And if you see that someone is really not doing the right things and they don't want to change, you might even ban those people. But this is all for the good. Venus is a benefic. It's all for the good. You'll feel at the end of this process much more happy with yourself and much more appreciative of yourself and what you did. Or you can improve a relationship dynamic. You can reconnect with a relative or with a parent that you haven't been in touch for a while. Spend some wonderful months or days, time with a relative or family member. You can receive a lot more joy and a lot more emotional fulfillment, which is all Venus, from family. And you can like see your family in a different light if you've been rushing around in life, hurrying up, doing things ahead, and you haven't been able to pay enough attention to those close people to you. You now have the time to, again, take a step back, really evaluate how precious those people are for you. And if they're not being good, you definitely will be changing something in the way you do things. On the more mundane level, it's changes in the lifestyle in regards to your property, property, owning of land in some way, relocation. If you decide to relocate now, actually it's a good time because it's a very good benefic in your fourth house. And it's retrograde, which means it's much closer to Earth. And when Venus is much closer to Earth, it becomes much more powerful. So if you're planning of, redoing something at home or renovating, I would say you have the green light. People tell you don't do anything to do with beauty or decoration when Venus is retrograde, you'll regret it. But I have not seen that. I've seen that people get a little bit more different perspective, and then in regards to beauty, what is attractive, what is peaceful, comforting, and this different perspective is something that actually we need to get a little bit different perspective in order to change something, in our environment or in our homes. And fourth house, on the most spiritual level, is emotional happiness, is emotional, you can receive more nurturing and support from family, and this way reevaluate and realize who is important for you. But you have to show more self-love to you, more self-nurturing to you, because Venus is love, and fourth house is the emotional well-being of a person. So you might be like digging into the past, and healing some emotional pain that happened maybe 8 years ago or something like that, because that was the cycle when Venus was passed there. Or maybe something that happened in the past that's buried in regards to your early family home or life. This is a period where you can heal that, where you can revisit that past and release it, because Venus is moving backwards, working with a psychologist, working with even dance therapy, some creative therapy, some art therapy. You can move back, you can re-examine it, and you can, release it. That's why they say retrograde planets, pain, everything goes bad. But no, psychologists, they know when you revisit something, when you experience it and you forgive it, and Venus is planet of forgiveness. And Venus is planet of re-evaluation and seeing it from a different light. That's the only time we can forgive someone from our past, because the fourth house rules our past, is when we see his perspective. And Venus is this planet that is able to see another person's perspective. It sees everything from matters from all the sides. It can put itself, it's a compassionate planet, into the shoes of another. It's the planet that can reevaluate and say, okay, that's why probably my father was drinking or was beating us, or was, or my mother was so unemotionally available, or whatever. That's why this person hurt me in the past, because they are themselves, they had a big issue. You can have this realization over August and part of September while Venus, or it might even start from July to feel it already, that you have like some realization and you release it and you let go of it. As we said, psychologists say you relieve it because it comes back to you, or something from your past definitely can come to revisit you, because Venus is moving backwards. It's a family member, family memory, and you see it from a different direction, different angle, and you release it. Or maybe something to do with your property or home from the past can come up again, which is more material in a sense. But definitely you can increase fortune as well if you're, especially... you have to be a bit cautious as well, But there's definitely a lot of activity happening there. And you might have to be more active with family members and stuff like that because of Mars there, the Sun, Okay, so there is a great possibility for emotional healing, releasing the past, but it comes first. So it becomes a bit overwhelming, for a little bit in August probably. And you might find yourself being a bit more meditative. Fourth house is the lower part of the horoscope, is below the horizon. So it's kind of, you kind of retreat a little bit from the world into your own safe castle. or you have to be busy with more private matters than career matters. But of course, check also if your ascendant is in Taurus, but say your sun is in Scorpio, all those planets will be in your 10th house. So you'll be doing both things, you know. You'll be very busy with personal family things, but you'll be also very busy with career as well, because they'll be in the opposite side. They'll be in the world side of the horoscope, not in the private side of the horoscope. But anyway, it's as if you're a bit, everything is happening under the surface, so where it's not so visible to others, and there is like an emotional cleansing that's happening with this Venus retrograde. Okay, the next big thing, Saturn is turning direct in your 7th house, Taurus, and finally it's the last time. In August and by September, it's out of affecting you, the 7th house of relationships, so it's like almost like certain relationship problems that were happening, they can be the peak now. They can be the last crisis, the healing crisis. Well, Saturn turns direct, it starts to untangle its heavy karma and the problems. Maybe if you've had some relationship problems, whether it's business or partnership relationship problems, now when Saturn is stationary in August and it starts turning direct, they can escalate again. But it's the last time. Again, it's the healing crisis. It's the last time. Don't freak out. It's not going to repeat. If someone leaves from your life now, a partner or a business partner or a client, even 7th house might be, it's going to be for good. It's going to be for last, because it's not Saturn. It's not coming back into your 7th house after that. But it's good. This is someone or something, some relationship or business partnership which is not productive for you. And it's letting you go. It's, you know, you're letting it go. The universe forces you to let it go. Saturn moves forward and moves away from your 7th house. And you resolve the problem and you leave it behind. But if the relationship is a good one and a supportive one, some kind of problem can escalate again, or extra responsibilities or duties or tension. But when Saturn starts moving forwards, towards the end of August, definitely you feel like, okay, finally those problems are over, and you feel like, but they actually put us closer together. They strengthen this alliance, you know. And you have a realization, or even if you're single or not in a business or any kind of a client relationship, one-to-one, you know, relationship. I mean, 7th house rules business as well. So some problem maybe that happened in your business, if you're in any way involved in giving and receiving goods and, you know, working with clients one-to-one, trading, some kind of a situation can escalate in August because Saturn is so strong, it's stationary, but it's turning direct, and this problem is final, the final testing, and it's getting resolved and it's moving away, you know, for you, Taurus. Or if you've been maybe some pain you've been hurt in a relationship and you've been reliving it. When Saturn moves backwards, you might relive this pain and be quite aware of it. Now when Saturn starts moving forwards, especially from the end of August and the beginning of September, you feel like, okay, I can move on now. I can move forward. I relived it, I repainted it, I recried it. I'm released now. You have the green light to move forward, and to move forward not only just as the hurt person you are, but to move much more empowered and with much stronger barriers as to what is allowable, because Saturn is there to put barriers. When it transits somewhere in regards to your relationship over the past 2.5 years, it's been transiting in your relationship sector, teaching you what is allowable for you in regards to relationship. Will you allow someone to take advantage, or maybe paying back karma for wrongdoings that you've done in relationships, seeing the reflection back, and other people, partners or other people, like forcing you to grow through putting more pressures and demands on you. And by August, this is like the final peaking testing time for you. Some of those issues can come again to the surface, only to be resolved, and for you to have like a summary of what you've learned in regards to relationships, even if it was in the hard way, because Saturn is a hard taskmaster. Anyway, let's go further. Jupiter is moving into your 5th house. For the last 1 year, it was in your 4th house, which is probably helping you expand, you know, family, all those 4 things we talked about, improving relationship with family, maybe emotional healing of some sort. But now it's moving into your 5th house, and it becomes super supportive to Taurus, because it will be sending trine aspects to any planet you have, whether it's the sun, moon, or ascendant in Taurus. And that's Jupiter's, one of the strongest Jupiter aspects. It's like the 100% aspect. And Jupiter makes you more creative over the next 12 months. Jupiter can make you turn some hobby into business. Jupiter can help you get inspired to learn something new, get you inspired to, to blossom, to have more confidence. Fifth house rules your self-esteem, and Jupiter will expand it. Wherever Jupiter goes, things start happening more easily. Well, it's not going to be without hitches, but of course the growth process always involves some kind of hard work, but Jupiter allows it to happen through inspiration rather than you pushing yourself hard. And fifth house is creativity, so your creativity expands. Jupiter was in my fifth house for the last 1 year, and I started 2 powerful creative projects astrologically. I started making a new website, and I started making a new application astrological. So such kind of, it doesn't have to be like you're doing arts and crafts and pottery and music creative type. If you're like that, definitely the flow of creativity will start increasing from August onwards for 12 months, and you can be very successful in creating like a new exhibition or a new brand. But anyone that is involved in their own business, that are developing a brand, that are developing some project that they cradle like their own baby, because the fifth house is like your baby, your creative project. Even if it's like you deciding to do a builder's company, it's your company, it's your baby. You have the inspiration how to expand it. If you have a business over the next 12 months, it will be green light for expanding in some way, but it's more like because you get ideas, because fifth house is the creative intelligence. You get brilliant ideas which you start implementing over the next 12 months, and which can after that, which can be very beneficial for your growth, for your expansion overall. If you're trying to get pregnant and you have ascendant or Taurus, or even Taurus ascendant, sun or moon, when Jupiter goes into your fifth house, you become much more fertile. If you already have children, so you can, over the next 12 months, improve your relationships with your children. Something good can happen in the life of your child. Fifth house is romance and romantic partners. If you're single, when Jupiter is in your fifth house, this is when you can fall in love. I mean, I got engaged with Jupiter in the fifth house. This is matters of romance. It's not like so much of a committed relationship, fifth house. It's more like opening the heart chakra and you're starting to feel in love. This is the feeling of being in love. So Jupiter can, bring you opportunities in that direction, but not without hitches, not without problems, because Saturn will be also aspecting Jupiter there. So it might be like an on and off, green, red light, some disappointments, then some very good things happening. Those things. But definitely Jupiter goes into a fifth house once every 12 years. So take advantage of all those fifth house things. Explore them purposefully. Whether it's inspiration, creativity, you feel more joyful. You'll have more fun. You let your hair down more over the next 12 months, Taurus. I had a blast of a time over the last 12 months while Jupiter was in my fifth house. And I'm Aries, I'm before you. And now it's going into my sixth, so it's work. But it's definitely, you feel more joyful, you reconnect to natural joyfulness in life, or you might overextend yourself a little bit with fun activities, especially if you're prone to more unhealthy ones, but it's still fun. Anyway, thank you very much, Taurus. Subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next month.